Breaking news! What if I told you that the Pittsburgh Steelers may be about to shake up their offense in a way that no one saw coming? A move that could stir up controversy, raise eyebrows, and maybe, just maybe, change the game for next season? From potential trades to explosive speeds and high-risk contracts, there's a storm brewing in Pittsburgh. But before we dive into all the details, make sure you've hit that like button, but only do so if you've been a black and gold fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages here. If you can, comment like this: "Go Steelers! My heart bleeds black and gold." Let's get right to it. According to insider Jordan Schultz, the Pittsburgh Steelers are actively searching for a new offensive guard. This isn't just another offseason rumor. There's some serious muscle behind the negotiations. The top name? Kyle Pitts, the former top 5 draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons. While the Falcons aren't openly interested in him, they're reportedly willing to consider offers, especially for a day 2 draft pick, a second or third round pick. Now, on paper, Kyle Pitts brings star power. He was a sensation at Florida, and his rookie year, with over 1,000 receiving yards, showed flashes of that same explosive potential. But since then, the spark has fizzled. The worry? He hasn't lived up to expectations. He's no longer the dominant threat with contested catches or the route-running ace that scouts salivated over before the draft. And while he still has elite physical potential, the harsh reality is that after 4 seasons, that promise seems more theoretical than tangible. The Steelers are already dealing with a tight end group led by Pat Freiermuth, reliable, sure-handed, and a solid possession receiver. Would it make sense to bring in Pitts, whose skill set overlaps heavily with Freiermuth's? That's where this rumor starts to lose traction. Not to mention the looming requirement to re-sign Pitts, who's entering the final year of his rookie contract. Any trade would require not just draft capital but a lucrative extension. Instead, there's growing chatter about another name, Jonnu Smith. This isn't just speculation. Smith played under Arthur Smith in Atlanta and thrived in his role, especially in screen-heavy packages where his yards after catch ability made him a nightmare for defenders. He's not only more dynamic with the ball in his hands than Pitts, but he also posted a more productive 2023 campaign. Plus, he fits a different mold than Freiermuth, offering contrast rather than redundancy. Smith would also complement the Steelers' vision of living in heavy 12 or 13 personnel packages. That means more tight ends on the field, which fits perfectly with Arthur Smith's system. Right now, Freiermuth is solid, Darnell Washington is a great blocker, but after that, depth is shaky. Connor Hayward and others just don't offer enough to confidently lean into this tight end heavy identity. But this potential acquisition raises a financial question. Do the Steelers really want to pay 2 tight ends top dollar? Freiermuth is already among the highest paid in the league at over $12 million annually. Smith, fresh off a Pro Bowl season, is likely eyeing $15 million per year. That's nearly $30 million tied up in one position group. It's a risky financial move unless both players are utilized heavily and effectively. Creative formations and strategic deployments would be essential. Beyond tight ends, the Steelers aren't stopping their search for weapons. There's increasing buzz about a lightning-fast wide receiver they've been inquiring about, Trey Palmer from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This 24-year-old speedster, a 6th-round pick out of Nebraska, clocked a legitimate 4.3 in the 40-yard dash and is widely considered one of the fastest players in the NFL. Palmer's appeal lies in his game-wrecking speed and ability to stretch defenses vertically. He's not a contested catch guy, and his hands can be inconsistent, but in an offense that thrives on creating space and yards after catch, his ability to stack corners and burn past defenders on deep crossers is a tantalizing trait. He's also a surprisingly aggressive run blocker, a trait Arthur Smith values highly. And with Tampa Bay drafting 2 new receivers, Palmer might not make the final roster. That opens a potential bargain opportunity for Pittsburgh. A late-round pick swap could be enough to bring him in. Palmer isn't alone in the conversation. John Mechie has been floated as a potential fit as well, another young, cost-controlled receiver who excels at route running and has reliable hands. But if the Steelers are going all in, there's one more development you can't ignore: the looming presence of Aaron Rodgers. There's growing belief that Rodgers will sign with the Steelers before June 10th's mandatory minicamp. If that happens, veteran receivers like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, both of whom reportedly have hesitated to sign without knowing who their quarterback will be, could suddenly become realistic options. Imagine this scenario: Aaron Rodgers under center, throwing to George Pickens, Amari Cooper, or Keenan Allen, with Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth causing matchup nightmares in tight end sets, and Trey Palmer stretching the field. That's an offense built to win now, built to chase a championship. And with Cam Hayward's career winding down, the urgency is real. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have made it clear. The time to win is now. But with all these potential moves in motion, from trading for Pitts or Smith to eyeing Palmer, Cooper, or Allen, the question remains, which move makes the most sense for the Steelers right now? Let me know what you think, Steelers Nation. Should the Steelers go all in on Jonnu Smith, Kyle Pitts, or focus on wide receiver help first? Let's dig deeper into this developing situation, because the decisions made in the next few weeks could define the Steelers' 2025 season and potentially the legacy of this front office under Omar Khan. Starting with Jonnu Smith, it's essential to recognize why he's more than just a convenient fit. He's a strategic chess piece. Smith brings athleticism, versatility, and a proven track record under Arthur Smith's system. If the Steelers are serious about playing significant snaps in 12 and 13 personnel, they can't rely solely on Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. Jonnu's presence allows Pittsburgh to diversify its tight end usage. He's not just a blocker or possession target. He can line up in the backfield, motion into the slot, and become a screen threat at any moment. And this isn't just theory. In 2023, Jonnu Smith was used extensively in these roles by the Falcons. He even earned a Pro Bowl selection, showing he's still a dynamic contributor. The idea here isn't redundancy, it's versatility. Jonnu brings something different than Freiermuth, and that contrast is what could make the Steelers' offense far more unpredictable. But there's still that looming price tag. If Pittsburgh does trade for Smith, they'll have to pay him. And that opens the door to the big strategic question: can you justify investing $30 million per year at tight end in today's NFL? Well, if you're building a smash-mouth offense that's going to lean heavily on tight ends, yes. But it's got to work. If Arthur Smith's system falls flat, or if the team fails to creatively deploy both Smith and Freiermuth, this could become an expensive mistake. Fans still remember previous attempts to overspend on certain positions without adequate returns. The front office has to be sure. Switching gears, let's talk about the wide receiver room again, because this is where the Steelers still have the most glaring hole. Beyond George Pickens, who has emerged as a legitimate number one target, the depth chart is uncertain. Calvin Austin III has blazing speed, but he's undersized and inconsistent. Van Jefferson, a system fit, but not a game changer. Robert Woods, veteran presence, but likely past his prime. That's where Trey Palmer becomes such an intriguing candidate. He's young, cheap, and possesses game-breaking speed that none of the current WRs can match. Imagine a defense trying to contain both Pickens' physicality and Palmer's explosiveness. It forces secondaries to play honestly, opening up the middle of the field for tight ends or checkdowns. That speed stretches the field vertically and horizontally, and while his hands remain a concern, yes, he had some drop and fumble issues, his upside is undeniable, especially when you consider that Tampa Bay's draft moves have made him expendable. This is the kind of low-risk, high-reward move that good front offices love to make. He's under team control for 2 more years, and his cap hit is negligible. In today's NFL economy, that's gold. So here's the final question we need to answer. If the Steelers only make one move between now and minicamp, what should it be? Go all in for Jonnu Smith to double down on their offensive identity? Make the big splash by locking in a veteran WR like Keenan Allen? Or snag a cheap speedster like Palmer who could surprise everyone? Comment below and let us know which move you think is most critical for the Steelers' success in 2025. And if you're still with us, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. This offseason is just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Check out the next video on screen now for more Steelers insights.